whilst respecting both of our situations.
Yeah. I don't know
like
how
setting boundaries and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's she doing? I didn't want to come into that situation with her if the shit wasn't ironed out and done.
I don't get why people were panicking when they saw the little clip of Mimii and Ayo speaking. Mimii is smart. Mimii has shown that she's emotionally intelligent and that she's very analytical in her processing of information and situations. So I wasn't really fazed. But I am here for Josh. Josh, what I think is here's my thought on Josh. Josh came into the villa with an impression of Mimii that he wasn't sure whether it was real or not. And I think this is why he entertained Grace for the first couple of days or hours or whatever, until he realized that Mimii is, as it says on the box, Mimii is who he thought she was and who she appeared to be on TV. And so he's caught feelings for her, and this is why he felt some type of way. You could tell he was seething. And I'm here for Ruben running to be CNN to listen into the conversation because he wanted to make sure that his boy is good. Oh my god, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode I'll be reviewing Love Island season 11 episode 35. So you have Lolly come out of the hideaway with Kieran. Obviously, Kieran has explained to her that he's not available, but he's happy to help be her wingman. When she comes out, Joey has to caution Jessie with a why that be nice, because she's fuming at the fact that why did Lolly say Joey has changed since he coupled up with her? And it's like, we've all noticed Joey has changed. Just because people don't say it doesn't mean people haven't noticed. But we've all noticed that Joey is a different man to the man that he was when he was with Grace or even when he was with Samantha. Anyway, she meets all the guys, and I love that Kieran was being her wingman. I love that he was trying to remind her and sort of prompt her on what to ask and sort of how to introduce herself and stuff. Why don't you tell the guys about yourself? Why don't you do this? And it was, oh, Kieran, I love this. And then so all the guys went in a circle, sort of explaining their situations. Josh, I don't know whether he was even paying attention because she had to say to him, okay, Josh, so what's going on with you? And you have the girls at the mini fire pit listening in. Everyone is anxious, and it's like, why are you all anxious? You know your couples are set. The only person available for her is Connor. Yes, she's asked to go on a date with you guys, but that doesn't mean that you guys are interested in her. She then comes over to the girls, has a conversation with the girls and sort of introduces herself, and she has to apologize to Nicole to say, you know, Nicole, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, blah blah blah. And it's like, Nicole is going to need help when she leaves the villa because girls are going to be sliding into Kieran's DMs. Kieran is going to be propositioned in person. How will she cope with that if she cannot cope with the situation in the villa, which is controlled, whereby she knows who everybody is, she knows what their situations are, and she can hear most of the conversations? This is going to be a struggle for her. It really is. And I don't know how she's going to cope. Kieran obviously is feeling anxious, and he had to go and have a conversation with her. And it's like, you can't be in a relationship with this situation. No, your love needs eyes to see, and it needs to see that this is too toxic. You can't deal with this situation. It's time to move on and find something that's more comfortable for you, that's more your speed. So you have Mimii pull, you know, Ayo for a chat, and it seems this wound people up from the first look because people were really dragging her, and it's like, you need to wait. It's just like the little conversation in the kitchen. The producers are really looking for a love triangle, and Mimii has refused to put herself in any love triangles at all, even when she came from Casa. So they were waiting for an opportunity. When Josh came in, they thought Mimii would entertain Ayo, but Mimii has learned her lesson and she's willing to move on. And so Josh sees this and he's furious. Josh has caught feelings. I think what I'm going to say, side note, I think Josh, watching Mimii before he entered the villa, saw someone he might like. Then going into the villa and meeting her in person, he realized that, you know, she is what it says on the box. She is exactly who you think she is. And because of that, he's caught feelings faster than he thought he would. And because he's caught feelings, this is why he's feeling some type of way about her speaking to Ayo, because this is not the first time. I think this is the second time. Well, this is the third time we've seen her, twice in the den and once in the kitchen when he was making the eggs. Well, that I can remember of, since she coupled up with Josh. And so when he comes to complain to Ruben, and Sean is there. Ruben immediately, as soon as he hears that Mimii is speaking to Ayo and they're laughing, he jumps up and he goes to be CNN to find out exactly what's going on. So he's standing there, he's listening in, what's going on, and then he comes back. I think he realized that it was nothing serious, and then he came back. So you had Josh saying, I asked Mimii if she still had feelings. Well, that's more or less what he was saying. He asked Mimii if she still had feelings for Ayo. She said no, she and Ayo were done. So on that basis, he decided to go all guns blazing for Mimii and sort of shut everything else down, including Grace. And so to see her laughing and joking with Ayo, he doesn't understand. Is this friendship vibes, or is she going back to Ayo and he is wasting his time, or he's invested himself in something and has caught feelings and now he's going to be left looking like a fool? So I like that Ruben sort of told him that, no, you need to speak to her and find out what's going on, because I don't think she is the one who's pulling him for chats. I think it's him. And he has been pulling her for chats. I'm not going to lie, because she was even shocked the first time he called her to the den and said, we haven't spoken since movie night. I said everything I needed to say, so I'm surprised that we're here. And so it was cute. It was cute. Normally I would say someone is overreacting, but it was cute the way he was jealous, the way you could see he was seething. He wasn't saying, I don't want to talk to her, but he wants to know on what basis are they talking? Are they rekindling their thingy, or are they just talking as normal? And Mimii, on her part, I give her credit, because I think after Ayo sort of pulled her for a chat and then the flirting in the kitchen, she decided, no, I need to put a boundary because I'm growing feelings for Josh and I don't want to upset Josh. So she sat down with Ayo and said, we need to come up with boundaries of, things that we'll say or do that are respectful to our current situations, because you have Jess, I have Josh investing in me, and I want to make sure that we continue to respect our situations. And Ayo was taken aback. I don't think he expected this. I think when she pulled him for a chat, I think he thought she was going to talk about them possibly rekindling, because everybody else in the villa has been encouraging him and telling him that they need to rekindle. And so to hear that, no, she's really not into rekindling with you, but she's moved on, was a shock to her. Sean is a CNN in the villa, because he ran to tell Joey, Josh is very upset because he's upset that Ayo and Mimii are chatting. He doesn't like that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, Sean, that's none of your business. That is none of your business. Focus on you and Matilda, please. You'll be going home soon, so you need to grow your bond before you go home. Anyway, I digress. You have Joey and Kieran sort of talking about their dates with Lolly and how, they were nervous about what might happen when they come out, because they're both in connections that they really like. And so they're worried. At least with Joey, it's better. Nicole will panic at the slightest thing, even if it's Mimii, who I think the only person who won't make her panic is Mimii, because she knows Mimii and Kieran have brother and sister vibes. Otherwise, everybody else, as soon as they smile at Kieran, she wants to know why they're smiling at him. Anyway, Lolly comes. I love the fact that Ruben made her feel welcome, because Ruben said we're no longer the new kids in school. Now we're, part of the furniture. Lolly's now the new kid in school. So they welcomed her, and then everybody went to bed. And Josh was still, you could tell he was fuming. And I think Mimii sensed this, because he just said to her, we need to have a proper conversation. This is what I like. He's emotionally intelligent. He's articulate. Oh my God, he can self-advocate. So, and he is able to self-regulate. I think he knew he was very upset, and he didn't want to say or do anything that would upset Mimii. And he even said to the boys that I don't want to sort of control what she does or what she says. So he told her we'll talk tomorrow. And then she, sensing that something wasn't right, decided to have a conversation in bed with him and told him that, it's difficult, which it is, because she and Ayo had a thing. They were sharing a bed for weeks and weeks, and she was very emotionally invested in that. And so she's had a couple of days to sort of detangle herself before Josh came in, but also at the same time, he has invested himself in somebody else. And so it's going to be difficult for them to look at one another and see each other in their relationships or in their new couplings, trying to make things work. And I like that she reassured him and sort of told him that, she was more or less saying to him, we've set boundaries and this is the end. We've agreed that there's nothing here. We need to move on. We need to focus on the people that we're in couples with, and we need to make that work. I think had she not said anything to him, he wasn't even going to cuddle her. I think he was furious. I think he was fuming because you could tell something was wrong, but he didn't want to say anything that would upset her or hurt her feelings. And so I loved them back to normal, cuddling in bed. Everybody else went to sleep. And Kieran and Nicole, I'm curious about that connection. They say they love each other. They say they're committed. Why haven't they gone to the hideaway? Why do they continuously have to keep making out in the bedroom with everybody else? Go to the hideaway. Show us your boyfriend and girlfriend and you're really invested in one another. So you have Lolly and Jessie with a Y go for a chat. I think Jessie with a Y is being a bit too extra. I think she's being a bit too extra. I think her feelings are hurt that Joey was pulled for a chat. And he was the first person pulled for a chat. And it's like, please, sit down. You did the same thing when you came in. Remember, you went on a date with him and with Jess. Jess, I think, went on a date with Connor. Or what? No, Connor came on his own, did he? I don't even remember. It's weeks ago. It seems like miles ago. I watched too many shows. Anyway, so I don't get why she was offended that, oh, you said to him, why has he's now a different man. It could be a compliment. It could be a compliment. Why are you offended? It could be a compliment that you've actually managed to tame the wild boar that was Joey, because people were struggling. Samantha and Grace were not able to do it, but you have done something, or he must really like you way more than he liked the other two girls. That's why he settled down. Calm down. There's no need for that. And for her to say, well, if you can't take him, then have him. And it's like, oh, please. It's not that deep. Joey's not a prize. It's not that deep. You need to sit your bottom down. We're really not here for the theatrics. And then you have Josh. So he's spoken to Mimii. He's sort of been pacified by her words, but he still needed to speak to Ayo. This is a man who knows what he wants and is making sure that he doesn't proceed full steam ahead if there's competition or if there's anything going there. So he calls Ayo for a chat. They go, they sit down. You can tell he's furious. I think Mimii knew something was happening because she was saying, I wish I could be a fly on the wall to listen to that conversation. I think it was a caution and a warning that was sort of slyly hidden in those comments, because he asked him, you know, what's going on between you and, you know, Mimii? What's going on? And he said, well, I'm all about Jess and I'm only focused on Jess. And he said, okay, what about Mimii? Has she given you the impression that she's interested? And he went, no, it's just there's feelings there, but she hasn't given me any indication that she's still interested in rekindling anything. And it's like, he had to tell him the truth that I was furious yesterday because I didn't understand why all the laughing and giggling and whatever, you know, I felt some type of way. And I was like, no, it wasn't what you think it was. I think he was more or less saying, I don't want to put myself out there and continue to pursue someone and then be left with egg on my face because the person that I'm pursuing is not interested. He doesn't want a situation similar to what Ruben was left with. So he wants to know, he's too old for games. He wants to know, am I investing in someone who wants my investment, or am I wasting my time? If I'm wasting my time, tell me and then I'll move on. Because he even said this to Sean that when he chose Mimii, he had options, but he chose Mimii because she's the one he really liked and she's the one who was his strongest connection. So the fact that now she's appears to be entertaining Ayo, he didn't like that. And so this is a warning to Ayo. Ayo needs to stay where he's at and he needs to leave her alone. I like the fact that he told, you know, Josh that you are in a great position, especially with a girl like that. Ayo liked Mimi's character, but Ayo has a type, and this type is Jess. If he could mold them into one person, he would have, and he's already said this. And so he knows Mimii is an amazing girl, but the problem is he likes the mixed race girls, and so Mimii is not that. This is why he gave up on her, and I think he was trying to sort of wait and see if he could somehow, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know whether he thought maybe she would change, or maybe he was waiting until he got over Jessica and then he could move on to Mimii. Whatever he was waiting for, it didn't work because now Mimi's found somebody else and she's having an amazing time. The producers are really trying to set up Sean and Matilda as the winners, aren't they? They're giving them the Zach and Molly treatment from last season. Why is it when Kieran and Nicole went on a date, they had to pack their own lunch and they put them somewhere, I don't even know, in the middle of nowhere where it looked so raggedy, and yet Sean and Matilda get a sports car hired for them? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Are we planning on sending them home before the final dates then, or what? Because they cannot go on final dates if they've had such an expensive date. As far as I'm concerned, Sean gets to drive the car and Matilda is the passenger princess. Amazing for them. You have Connor have a conversation with Lolly. They could have brought him somebody else. They could have brought him in somebody else. I wish they'd brought him in someone like Diamante. I don't even know why he didn't explore that. Or maybe he was sort of closed off, or there was no spark, or whatever it is. Because I think that's a relationship of convenience, in the sense that there's no other option for either one of them. So they're just going to take what's available on their plate. You have Ayo have a conversation with Jess S and sort of tell her that, you know, he had a conversation the night before with Mimii, and she gets upset and storms off. And it's like, yeah, it's a bit messy. It's a bit messy because Mimii immediately told Josh before they went to sleep, because Josh was already feeling some type of way because he had seen it, but I don't know where Jess S was, so she didn't get to see the conversation. And so she storms off. She goes to get Grace. Grace was sitting with Mimii, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Why didn't she go and ask Mimii, or why didn't she speak to Mimii and say, Mimii, I feel some type of way. Ayo is telling me that the two of you had a conversation yesterday, and then the four of them would have sat down. So Mimii, Ayo, Josh, and Jess, and they would have all understood where they stand, because this situation, as Mimii said, is very awkward, in the sense that you had two people who were in a couple. One of them thought they were way more advanced than the other one, and the other one decided to recouple, and which left Mimii single. And as a result, when Mimii was the only single one, it was okay. Now that Mimii is dating or has got a connection with somebody else, it's now four people involved, because I don't get why Jess S is upset, because Mimii had to endure everything that they were doing and didn't even say anything. And so I think the four of them should have sat down, and yes, Mimii and Ayo set boundaries, but I think they should have sat down as four people and set boundaries of what is acceptable to each and every single person, and reached an agreement of what they feel is appropriate. Because at the end of the day, whatever boundaries Mimii and Ayo said, Jess and Josh might not be comfortable with that. So this is why I say that their input was needed. So she storms off. She goes to pick Grace, has a conversation with Grace. She vents to Grace, and then she comes back, and it's like, I get it. But she also needs to sit down with Mimii and actually find out from Mimii what happened, what was said. I like the fact that Connor came to Ayo and had a conversation and actually had some great information to give, Ayo, to say you need to have a conversation with her. You need to tell her where you stand. You need to sort of iron out whatever issues you're having and make sure that she is happy, because she feels some type of way. He then went to try and speak to her. She's still kicked off, and it's like, please. Do you want to hear what's happened? Or if you're not ready, or if you are not within a space whereby you can listen to whatever he has to say, tell him, give me a moment. Let us speak later in a couple of hours once I've cooled down. Because yeah, as much as Connor encouraged that conversation, I think that wasn't the best time. When someone is fuming, at times they don't have the capacity to listen, to understand. All they're hearing is listening to respond. And this is the situation with Jess at the moment. I still don't understand what Matilda and Sean have done to deserve that date. That was an amazing date. So they went to a restaurant, and I think because Sean heard that Ruben was ordering in Spanish, he decided to sort of, try and order in Spanish, and his Spanish was terrible. It was terrible. But anyway, they seemed to enjoy the date. He then asked her to be exclusive, and what do I think? I think Matilda is going to do what will keep Matilda on the show till the very end. I don't think Matilda has as strong a feeling for Sean as we think she does. Because she hasn't done or said anything that shows you that she's, very sexually attracted to this guy. Yeah, she humors him because she called him, what happened to our sweet baby Sean? I don't know. Anyway, they come back to the villa. They tell everybody about their date. And I'm surprised nobody expressed that they felt some type of way, because all the other dates that people have been on, well, Outside of Mimii and Ayo, that one was a cute one on the boat, and this one was in a sports car. But Kieran's and Nicole's date was terrible, so I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So while they're talking, Mimii receives a text message to say that there'll be a recoupling, and the girls will get to choose who they want to recouple with. So people are nervous because obviously there's Lolly. I still don't get why we brought in Lolly. I still don't get why the producers thought Lolly was the right type of girl to bring in for Connor, because obviously they're bringing her in for Connor. They're not bringing her in for anybody else. Yeah, she tried to have a conversation with Ruben. He was cordial, but you could tell he's now stuck on Grace and is not moving from Grace. So I really don't know how that's going to play out. And I don't know. Even everyone was sort of wondering, the boys were wondering who she's going to pick. They all assume it's Connor, but they also are prepared that she might make a rogue decision and just go for someone random. You even have Kieran mention that she might go for Joey, and Joey's just like, well, you have to be prepared for that. And it's like, Joey loves the attention, loves to be in the middle of the mess. So whatever is happening, he's going to be there and he's going to milk it for what it's worth. All the islanders get ready and they gather around the fire pit for the recoupling. So first up to recouple is Lolly. Well, she, says that this guy has made her feel comfortable and welcome. They've enjoyed their time. And it made sense that she picked Connor because Grace was looking very antsy because Grace has been exploring with Ruben, because I think with Josh, he completely shut her down. So if she had picked Ruben, then Grace would have had to pick Connor because there's no one else she could have picked. So she picked Connor. He seemed happy. Everyone was happy for him because finally he's in a romantic couple. Whether there's a spark or not, we don't know about that. We'll see as time moves on. Next up is Nicole. Nicole has been practicing her speech. So Nicole and Kieran are a train wreck couple for me. They are, because they have very high highs and very low lows. It's very rare that they're sort of moderate or they're in between the two. And so she gives a speech and he decides to ask her to be his girlfriend. What do I think? I think it was cute, but if he really was that serious, when they were having that conversation about having feelings for one another and them being one-sided and whatever and reassured each other, that's when he should have asked her to be his girlfriend. If he didn't want to make a big deal about it, he didn't need to do that in front of everyone. I think it's more, I don't know, it makes me feel some type of way. It makes me feel like it's a bit more staged. His sister was very happy. Mimii was ecstatic for him. And so we'll see until their next fight. Next up is Grace. Grace gives her speech. She's really she says the person has lifted her mood. She's still open to getting to know other people and he should feel the same. And it's like, seriously, who else is there for you to get to know? Who else? Everybody else is in a romantic connection. Who do you want to know? Are you asking the producers to bring you in a bombshell? Because you are not going back to Josh, and Josh is not going to come and explore a connection with you now that Ruben has been there, because they are brothers and they really ride or die for each other. And so he's never going to cross that line. So if I were you, I'd have taken that last bit out. You have, Jessie with a Y stand up. She gives her speech. She's been with Joey since the very start. Obviously, she was threatened by the idea that Lolly might explore a connection with him. And so she was worried Lolly would pick him. And so getting to pick him made her happy. And she said she's catching feelings. He was excited. There's something about her. I agree with Lolly. There's something about Jessie with a Y that pacifies Joey. I've been saying this, whether it's her standoffish behavior with him, whereby he's really had to work very hard. It's not like he's seen her today and he's taken her to the hideaway tomorrow. And this has kept him interested and has really made him work to earn her affections. And now that she's expressing those, he's over the moon. He really is. So next up is Matilda. Are we surprised with who she picked? No, because they've just become exclusive. So it would have been surprising if she picked Ayo or Josh. Sean is ecstatic. Their thunder sadly was taken away by Kieran asking Nicole to be his girlfriend in front of everybody else at the fire pit during recoupling. And then it's Mimii. The producers didn't have any other dramatic situation. This is why they've been trying to milk the Mimii situation and make it seem like Mimii was feeling some type of way about Ayo that she wasn't. So I love her speech. I love her recognition. She recognizes that, Josh has treated her the way she wants to be treated in a relationship. And she's appreciative of that. She loves the fact that he makes her smile, the small gestures that he has done, the reassurance and, you know, affirmations that he's given her. And you can see with everything she's saying, Ayo's face is dropping lower and lower because he knows that he treated her terribly. And there's no way he can compete with the standard that Josh has set for her, and she's letting him know that there's no way, there's no going back, because she even went as far as to say that this was an easy decision. I didn't even need to sort of question, is this right, is this not? No, this is an easy decision for me. This is what I want to do for me now. And you could see Ayo looked like someone had slapped him. Josh was happy. I loved his little smile as she was talking about him. And when they sat down, he actually said, good speech. The brother was looking on. He was happy for her. I love Mimii and Kieran's relationship. We don't talk about it enough. I think we need to talk about it a lot. People talk about the guys' friendships and whatever, but I love that connection between sort of Mimii and Kieran and how they look out for each other all the time, and how now you have Nicole also looking out for Mimii because Kieran looks out for Mimii. So that was cute. And as though, you know, it wasn't enough for Mimii to, you know, whack Ayo with words, you had Jess stand up. And for her to say communication is key. And it's like, oh God, you're going to have to do a lot of work to teach Ayo to communicate, because even Mimii says he speaks in riddles and parables. So good luck to you. You could tell he was excited when she started talking about, oh, he's looked after me. It hasn't been easy. And it's like, what do you mean it hasn't been easy? It hasn't been easy for Mimii. The two of you kept going as though nothing was wrong. Mimii is the one who was sitting and crying and whatever and being consoled because she was having to watch the two of you in paradise. So please, we are not here for it. I don't know. Anyway. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review of episode 34. Bye guys.